you, then I'll be right there. Let me come check you, my baby. No time, no. If you send me the look,
Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. Look who I got with me today. Say hello. Aren't you gonna say hello to everybody? Say hi guys, how are you? So this is Romario, for those that don't know, and he is officially 6 months old. So as you have seen by the topic of this video, I am finally, I am so sorry guys, I have finally came to do my labor and delivery story because people have been messaging me and just asking, you know, Shan, when are you going to do the video? We haven't heard the story yet. How's it going? And all of that. So let's backtrack. So I found out that I was pregnant, and like I said, for those that watch my family channel, I talked about actually literally him coming to me in a dream, and my mom also dreaming to me. Yeah, for those that don't know, my mother passed away, and she had a dream. She dreamt to me and told me that, you know, she had a package for me. She's like, I have a package for you. Make sure you take good care of it, you know. And when I had the vision of what I was having, I knew the sex of what I was going to have before I even found out I was pregnant. So it's like, I would say maybe I had the dream maybe a month, maybe maybe 2 or 3 months before I actually ended up pregnant. About that, I had the dream, and I never forgot what the baby looked like. The funny thing, when he came to me in the dream, his hair was actually like this. That is so funny. His hair was like this, but his eyes were piercing blue. Piercing blue eyes he had when he came to me. His hair color was a bit lighter than what it is. Yeah, his hair color was a bit lighter than what it was. But he came to me in the dream and stuff like that, and I was just amazed. And when my mom came to me in the dream and she's like, you know, I have a package for you. Make sure to keep it safe and take care of it until I see you again. And I was like, okay, mom, no problem. Like in the dream, I remember saying that to her. But fast forward now to when I found out I was pregnant. So we ended up taking him home. I don't know, I've just been feeling off, and I was like, okay, I think it's about time. Let me go get a test, because it was like all these symptoms, and this was even before. I don't even remember if my period was supposed to come, or I ended up taking the test before it came. But anyways, I took that test, and I ended up taking one of those little strips. If you guys had gone back, I don't know if I posted on this channel, but it's on my family channel. I will, I might link the video, or yeah, I'll probably be able to link the video in here as well, of that video. Maybe I'll see if I can, but I took, or if I have clips, I will put it in, but I think I might have done a video where I left it. So I took the test. I remember taking the test, and then it was one of those little strips, and it came up. And then afterwards, I looked, and it was expired. The pregnancy, it said positive, but the pregnancy test was expired. I was like, okay, so obviously that's a false positive. It's a good thing I had another pregnancy test, and I'm like, oh, you know what? Let me take this pregnancy test. And I end up taking it, and as I literally dipped it, TMI, in the, you know, my urine, it was bright. I was like, wow, that is crazy. So that's pretty much how I found out I was pregnant. Now into the labor and delivery story, guys. So there was a lot of stuff that I did not inform my family channel, like sat down and gone through. If those of you that have been coming from my family channel and have seen, there's a lot of stuff that we didn't really disclose in the video. I vlogged sometimes I couldn't vlog because your girl was tired. I was going through a lot. I was doing, trust me, there was so much going on in the background. Literally, I was doing 12-hour shifts and on my feet, like, so during my pregnancy, guys, I ended up having high blood pressure, which I had high blood pressure before, but due to pregnancy, it was even that much higher. Sorry, pops. Kick the thing. So due to pregnancy, it was even higher. So I was going through that. I ended up having to see a specialist almost every week just to monitor my pressure. I had to monitor my blood pressure 3 times a day. So I would monitor in the morning, at lunch, and at night. And well, I've been on blood pressure medication, so I was also on that. So I was also on the blood pressure medication, but it's one that's safe for pregnancy, even before pregnancy, or if you're planning to get pregnant. I was on that one, so my pressure was quite high. I was getting like my blood pressure was like about almost 175 over 100, and sometimes a higher, right? It was higher than that. So they had to try to get my blood pressure down. I don't even know if I could even find the paper that I had, because I had to keep track, and every week that I went, or every 2 weeks I went to see the specialist, I had to keep track. So I had found that out early in the pregnancy. If you guys had seen, I had shown you guys almost like week to week, or at least a week to week pregnancy update, or every 2 weeks pregnancy update on this channel. I had also posted when I was about, was it 6 weeks? I think it was 6 weeks pregnant. I literally started TMI. I literally started bleeding. I didn't know what was happening. Well, I thought I was having a miscarriage, and I was like, not again. I was like, God did not. I was like, God did not give me this little one to go end up going through this. So what happened was, I remember like I was with my husband at the time, and I told him, I was like, I think I'm bleeding, and I literally had to come into the house, run up the stairs, like I literally had to just come in, and I went straight into shower. I went into the shower, and of course, bam, I was bleeding. So I washed up myself, and I was like, you know what? Let me see if this thing's gonna stop. And I had to obviously put on a pad. And then, like, when my husband came in, he said, just go. That time we went and did groceries. He's like, just go. So when he came in, he started panicking because there was a trail of, like, I guess, red juice from where we were, and he thought it was blood. So he thought like I literally was bleeding so much. He was so terrified, guys. And I think his heart came to his throat with everything that was going on. And so I came home, showered and everything, and then he came in and he's like, "Are you okay?" I was like, you know what? I think we need to go to the emergency because I need to find out if I'm miscarriaging, if I'm like losing this baby. We were at the hospital for over 8 hours, almost 12 hours. So he didn't even go to, I don't remember if it was a weekend or a work day, but I know that the next day, like me and him literally slept. So we were there, we got released out of the hospital, I think after 5 or 7 in the morning. We were there, they had to run blood tests and stuff like that. They took forever, and by the time we went in, I had an ultrasound done. The experience was not so great because the funny thing is that they hardly said anything to me. It was actually when I went in, it was the ultrasound tech, she was looking, and then she's going around looking after everything, went through all the tests and waited how much hours in the hospital. Then she was like, yeah, the baby's okay. She's like, oh, we see the little bundle of joy. And I 6 weeks? Yeah, that time I didn't even know how far along I was. Yeah, I was about 6 weeks. And when she's looking, she's like, oh, do you know how far along you are? I was like, no. So she's like, yeah, you're about 6 to 7 weeks. And then she showed, yeah, 5 to 7. Was it 5? Between, I think, 6 to 7 weeks. She's like, oh, look, there's a little baby. She's like, oh, you'll be okay. So then we sat after that, and I waited for the doctor to come and talk to me. The doctor didn't even tell me anything to even say that the baby was okay or anything like that. Like, the surfaces was just not where it needs to be, and I was very disappointed because something like that's a life and death situation. My life is at risk, the baby's life is at risk, because pretty much you get pregnant, there is a heartbeat there, there's something growing. So it was pretty disappointing. And then the doctor came and she was like, "Oh, you know, you're okay. You can go home." They were concerned about my blood pressure because my blood pressure, obviously, my blood pressure was like crazy. It was, I think, it was like 180 over something. How high it was. Um, Sorry, little man's a bit sick. It was like 180 over something, so it was very high at the time. Oh Lord, are you gonna say hi? Say hi to everybody. Say hello. Look, say hi. So yeah, it was about 180 over something at the time, and me and my husband were there, like just sitting there for hours, just waiting. And then so we were good. I ended up calling my OB and stuff, and went in. He got the information, and everything was okay. Then along through the pregnancy, now we're into 9 weeks. 9 weeks into the pregnancy, I literally started bleeding again. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I was just praying. I just kept praying because me, I'm a girl. I believe in God. You know, I believe in the higher power. And I was like, you know what? If it's meant to be, it's going to be. And God will definitely see us through to make sure that my little bundle of joy that came to me in a dream is going to come and see me in real life. Right? So we ended up going. We went through that. Ended up at that time I didn't go back in the ER because they had told me that if anything, and I started bleeding, and they said, TMI, if I started bleeding and I was filling up a pad within half an hour to an hour, then I definitely need to come in because it's most likely I would either possibly having a miscarriage. But the result was, it was actually my OB that told me what the problem was. I forgot what they call it. It's a somatoma. Sorry if I'm saying it wrong. I will put it to here what it was that what I had. And so yeah, so back in 9 weeks I was having the same problem again, but this time I wasn't like, it was only most likely, it's still TMI. When I wiped and stuff, I seen it, and it only happened for maybe about like a week or two. And with that being said, like the doctor was like, you know, no intercourse, no heavy lifting, no nothing. Literally from then I was literally put on bed rest, right? Put on bed rest through all of that. Did you guys know that with all of that going on, I was working, still was going to school, because I literally was finishing up my nursing. So I had very busy schedule, and I don't know if it's because of all of that, like the stresses of, you know, being a nursing student, being a mom, working in the medical field as well, you know, that added on to the stress, just dealing with everyday life and stuff like that. It was taking a toll on my body. So what happened was I ended up on sick leave because the doctor's like, okay, straight bed rest. And the fact was, with my blood pressure being so high and it kept going up, I ended up having to be off work. So I had to stay off work, right? And I ended up like with school, it was just, I was doing like my placement. I was just finishing my last bit of placement because I ended up having to stop certain things. I had to stop for a semester due to obviously the pregnancy and stuff like that, you know, and what I was going through. So I couldn't continue on. So I had to stop, because it was strictly bed rest I had to be on. I couldn't really do no heavy lifting, no anything, no nothing like that. So it was just all rounded crazy. And my husband didn't want me doing anything, no sorts of lifting, anything at all. But knowing myself, like I do my best not to do any lifting. Hi, Papa. Hi. I do my best not to do any lifting or anything like that. But even during the pregnancy and stuff like that. So fast forward now in the pregnancy, things started going good. We reached our 20-week mark, and we found out what we found out. Yes, we did a gender reveal, and we found out, guess what? We were having a boy. And I was like, I know it's because he came to me in a dream. And the funny thing is, when he came to me in the dream, he had like he was talking, but he was still a baby, and he was still sitting down like how he is now in diapers. He wasn't a toddler because he couldn't walk. He was about this size, about 6 months. How you see him now, and his hair was literally like this. Like I said, just lighter. He was all white, like what he's wearing, and he had bright blue piercing eyes. Like it felt like, I don't know, I was looking into heaven looking through his eyes, which was so crazy. So I don't know if it was like my guardian angel at the time that came to me and told me, or what it was, guys, but that's what it was. But anyways, and then from there, 20 weeks, found out we're having a boy. We're so excited because my husband, he wanted a boy first before anything. He's like, if he had to choose between a boy and a girl, he would want a boy. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. He is glad for whatever he gets as long as it's healthy. So once we found out we were having a boy, now fast forward a couple more weeks, and during that, I've been having, after the either 20-week marks, I started getting some pain. So for those that don't know, I do have fibroids. Um, yeah, so I had that, and I also had low iron. So I ended up having to have an iron transfusion during the pregnancy because they wanted to be safe and sorry, and make sure that my iron was up to date. So I ended up doing three, I think was it, I did the iron transfusion. I had to go, did three session. And guys, even with the iron transfusion, but force forward back a little bit, I started having pains, right? So I started getting some pain, and it was almost like a labor pain. And I started feeling pains as early as maybe 25, it was 25 weeks. I don't know, maybe over 25, 28 weeks, so somewhere along there. And for those that don't know, I'm a mother of four, so this is my fourth one. I have three other kids, and all three of them are actually premature. All three of them are premature. So I know that for me, my pregnancy would have been high risk because I was considered high risk even with my first one, all the way up to my third one, and now my fourth one. Oh, little man is tired. Sleepy? Are you sleepy? Yeah. Oh, no, no, no. No eating here. No, 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 no. Okay, so yeah, so my pregnancy was a higher risk. So I know this one would have been high risk as well. Just because I've always had my kids them early. They never figured out why my kids them all came premature. So so I kept getting pains, and I was like, oh, I don't know what is going on. And the doctor's like, okay, like telling me what pregnancy pains feel like labor pains feel like, which obviously it felt like it. And sad enough, one night I get up and I was just having pains. And I was in bed, and I was like, tell my husband, I was like, okay, it's time. I think we need to go. Like, I was timing contractions. They were like 5 minutes apart. And I was like, this is not good. I was like, I think I'm in labor. And we ended up having to go to the hospital. I think it was it at 32 weeks? I don't remember if it was 32 weeks, I believe. But even then, it might have been before that. And girl, I was doing placement. I was, because I was able to go try and finish my placement, which I shouldn't have been. But at the end of the day, I needed to do what I needed to do. And I just wanted to be finished and done school because obviously I had put things off too long. So I ended up, and this time I was doing night shifts for placement. I was doing 12 hours. I was doing my consolidation. So I was doing the last bit of everything that I had to get done. And I did all of that, and I finished my consolidation and stuff like that. Well, I actually went into labor, like, and even at work, I was having contractions and stuff like that. It was just crazy. But behind the scenes, I held it together. I did what I had to do, and I'm pretty much here now. But so I ended up going into premature labor. I ended up in the hospital. They tried to stop the labor. Um, well, there was a point where I went into the operating room because things got like dramatically crazy. At one point, they're like prepping for the baby to literally come. That's how much it was, because they tried to stop me from contracting and stuff like that. So I didn't end up having him premature. And I think that was about maybe 32 weeks, if I am not mistaken. And so, like, my husband's there and he's literally panicking because he doesn't know what to do. This is his first time and he's not used to being in the room. Everything's going on. Like, they're there, they're hooking things up to me. You have one and two, three, four people coming in and he's just sitting in there and he's like, he's feeling helpless. So that was what was going on. And what happened was they ended up giving me some pills. I ended up having injections, obviously, to mature the baby lungs, and they had me on a monitor and I was still hooked up to all the machines. And that was happening. They were just still monitoring the baby heart rate. My blood pressure was going up as well. The baby was in distress as well. So there was just so much things going on, guys. It was like scary at one point, but we got through it. And I knew things would be okay, because like I said, my life is in God's hands. When he is ready for me, he will do what he needs to. So I was okay. I just kept my faith and I prayed and I knew everything was there, because within God's hands everything will be okay. And I also have my mom as my guardian angel watching over me. So I was like, what will be will be. But then we went from that. We ended up staying overnight. Like, my husband stayed and everything with me. And because of my high risk pregnancy, I had to deliver at a special hospital because of that. And thank God, by the grace of God, I didn't end up having him early. He actually, so forward now to what, 34, 35 weeks, I still was going through. So basically, after they stopped my premature labor, I ended up now having prolonged labor. So I literally have prolonged labor from imagine being going from 7 weeks 7 months pregnant to prolonged labor, having prolonged labor for 2 months. So from 32 weeks, sorry. So from 32 weeks, I had prolonged labor. That means I started going into labor almost every day, type of thing. Some days I would be okay, and then other times when I looked, I would find that my contractions were 10 minutes apart. Then I kept watching them. Then they would stay there for like about a half an hour to an hour. They would go down to 5 minutes apart. Then I was like, you know what, let me watch this for like a half an hour to an hour to see, because the worst thing is to every minute I'm getting up and I'm going to the hospital. But even though it's better to be safe than sorry, but because I know my body, I was like, okay, I'm okay. Let me just continue watching and see what is what. But when it reached down to, say, I'm going to 5 minutes, my labors are down to almost like what, 5 minutes apart, and I'm watching them on the app. And then I wait, and then I was like, as I'm ready, I was like, okay, maybe it's time to go. And I was like, let me wait a little bit longer. Then all of a sudden, my labor stops. So then I was like, okay, my labor stopped, go back to bed. In the middle of the night, I get up, contractions start, and my stomach gets hard as a rock, and it's so tight, so crazy, because when he'll be on one side of my stomach and he gets so hard and bulky, and like I was like, he must be in distress. I had bought a heart doubler, because after the incident from the 6 weeks to the 9 weeks that I had with the TMI, the bleeding, I ended up getting a baby heart doubler, and I also had my stethoscope as well, from my nursing training. So I would put it on, I would listen, try listening to my own, just to figure out where the baby is, and listen for myself, and I just basically trust in my body. As a woman, I believe, like, if you know yourself, you know your body, you learn to listen to your body to know that when it's time to get up and go, it's time to go. No matter what somebody else tells you, but if you know your body, you know when it's like, oh, time to go. So that had happened for a bit, and I just kept having it, kept having it. But I was like, that was the only sign. And then I remember I also lost my mucus plug as well, because my mucus plug, I did lose my mucus plug at the 32 weeks mark when I started going into labor, and then I ended up closing back, but then I started losing my mucus plug like piece by piece. TMI, sorry guys, but I'm sure it's mostly women that are watching this anyways, and ones that have either had kids or haven't had kids. So, and if you haven't, then you're about to find out. So I was also going through that as well. And yeah, I just kept seeing that happening. I'm losing my mucus plug, but I'm also having all these contractions. And it's on a daily. Like my husband's literally standing by his phone at work to hear me call to say, okay, I need to go. And it happened for 2 months. I still was going to see the specialist with my blood pressure. My blood pressure was peaking because once I reached 20 weeks, my blood pressure started peaking a little bit. So they ended up having to up my dosage on my medication. And I was still monitored for that. And, I just made sure I did all that I had to do, take my medication. I eat right as much as possible and make sure I had to drink because, I drink a lot of water, so that also helped and stuff like that. And I was just make sure that I was on my tea and try to eat as healthy as I could. And that also helped, and try not to stress myself about stuff at all. And with all of this going on, guys, literally, even when I went into premature labor, I was still doing my placement. And I went back after I got out of the hospital. Can you believe? I went back after I got out of the hospital and I finished my placement. I literally finished my placement because I was like, listen, I am getting this thing done. And I literally finished my placement. I was so happy I finished just in time, just before I ended up having him. So by the mercy of God, God was able to stop my labor so I could finish, because I was like, God, I need to finish this schooling. I already took off so much time. I need to get it finished and get it out the way. And by the grace of God, everything happens. I always say, everything happens for a reason. Sometimes one door closes, another one open for a better opportunity. So, and that happened, and then even within the last bit, and then like I went to my doctor at 38 weeks, and my doctor's like, okay, if you don't fully go into labor on your own by now and then, we're just gonna opt for a C-section. And I was like, okay, I'm all right with that, because I had already had a C-section. My third child, the last one that I had before Romario, I had a C-section with her, and it was an emergency C-section, so I was literally put under. I missed out almost a whole day, almost yeah, a whole 24 hours, or maybe just a little bit over, of my life. So that whole time I don't know what happened. Yep. But that's a whole nother story. So I ended up so he's like, okay, so if you don't have the baby on your own by then at 39 weeks we will take we will go in and take him. So I was like, okay. Me and my husband agreed. We sat and talked, and obviously, with anything, whether you have a vaginal birth or C-section, there's risk, and a C-section is literally major surgery. So what happened was, so we ended up, as I said, so after that now, I don't even remember where I left off. Uh, so yeah, so then we ended up going in, and he was supposed to be born on May 25th, 2003, and he was born on May 21st, 2023 by cesarean. Yes, and that's how my little one got here. So right up till the day, even the night before I went in, the morning before I went in for my C-section, I literally had contractions right up until then. And they weren't Braxton Hicks contractions, but they were like behind each other, 5 minutes apart, and then they got down to 3 minutes apart. And I was like, wow. So yeah, I endured all of that, and it was just crazy. I was just more worried about his health, with me just having so much contraction that it's affecting him, because I'm going through prolonged labor for over 2 months. but the doctor said that everything was okay. You know, I was just closely monitored even more. And yeah, that was pretty much it, guys. As you guys can see, I have a brace on my hand. Usually I'm wearing it on both hands from time to time, but after pregnancy, I started having some problem with my hand, like picking up anything too heavy, sometimes even holding him, and uh, that is a whole nother story. So if you guys would like to see a video, a sit down video of me talking about that, I forgot what the doctor called it, but it seems to be affecting a lot of women that are pregnant now, and after pregnancy, they are having this issue. And yeah, pretty much so, and it affects both of my hand. It was affecting my right hand, my left hand more than my right, but now it's affecting my right hand, and from time to time I have to wear it, and then at times I just feel the pain in my hand. But if you guys would like to see a story on that, definitely let me know. But I hope you guys enjoyed my labor and delivery story, and thank you guys for being so patient and waiting. I know I've been slacking on this channel, but your girl has so much to do. And I've just literally been busy, and I've been trying to make sure I stay consistent on my family channel. But it's just life, you know. It's lifing, and having a newborn, well, a 6 months old now. It's just there's just been a lot that's been going on that we're trying to do as well, you know, to make sure. There you go. Are you good? You want a burp? Oh, he just finished having his bottle. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Bless you. Bless you. Yeah. You wipe your mouth? Good boy. Good boy. Okay. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And please let me know which part of my story in the video that you like, and can you resonate with what happened with me. I know so much other moms out there can resonate, especially with what takes place and stuff like that, you know. And yeah, it's so crazy. There's a lot of times as women we go through so much, and we don't feel like we don't have anybody to share with. But I'm glad that I have this platform that I can come and share certain things, because I know other women is going through the same things or something similar. And at least when some people are just recently become pregnant and they're going through it, they're looking for information, they can at least find information here and be like, okay, I'm not the only one going through this. This mom went through it, and this is how she dealt with it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and yeah, let me know what you guys think of my labor and delivery story. And I'm so sorry again. Sorry for taking so long to actually come and do this video. And I hope you guys enjoy it. We'll talk to you in the next one. Bye, guys.